Yeah. Backup deck is updated Broodscale. Updated Broodscale. Now this is a pretty normal version of the deck, I'll say. It's not. I don't think there's a super duper stock list because the deck was pretty popular back when the ring was legal. This was a good ring deck. It hasn't exactly found its footing post ring ban. This version that I've built is really in on playing Mox Opal, which I think is important. I think it's something you want to be trying to do in this archetype. And I'm also I think main decking Mycospawn is something that I want to be doing for opposing Eldrazi decks. And I also want to be in on ramping into Emrakul. Broodscale's nice because it's a relatively fast combo deck, and this is something some Broodscale players have adopted is like one Emrakul to dig for with K-Command and Fleshrakers. I want to be just a bit more in on it. I think between Rumbles and Mox Opals and Fleshrakers, Mycospawn, K-Command, you just have a lot of ramp, and just main decking two Emrakuls almost makes it like kind of impossible to be grinded by like the Boros and Orzhov and to like a lesser extent Dimir. I think when you have that aspect and you have fast Fleshraker, Flash Broodscale, ends up being pretty nice. So, do you have sideboard for Affinity? I think our just combo is good against Affinity. We do have disenchants and stuff. Okay, gonna save the blade for casting after the Fleshraker, I guess. Although I would have Affinity. I mean, it's just kind of free to cast next turn, I guess. So I need to let Athena out, but let me get this in the Mox field. She's very impatient. Okay, there's Affinity again. Another Blade is interesting. So we're going to go Fleshraker, Mox Opal, cast the Blade off of the spawn token from Mox Opal, and then cast the second Blade off the Opal. Only playing 3 Blades in the deck. This is something I think with this build with Urza Saga, I think the 4th Blade is a bit too many. Alright. So a lot of builds playing 1/2 Traverse. I hate that fucking card. I hate that it only does something like turn 3 if you drew a Rumble, and if you didn't draw a Rumble, it's like just kind of a blank card. Not a fan. I think I'd rather just play the second Emrakul. I've played so many Traverse the Uvenwalds, I can't anymore. I's doing fine. So Broodscale for the win. We also have Rumble Stirrings, K-Command, Glaring Fleshraker to a lesser extent. Mycospawn, I could kick a Mycospawn, so a pile of good top decks here. I just want that one Keen Sense. Yeah, I thought about playing a single Keen Sense, but I decided against it. Could be good. Second Mox Opal, not all that good. I think there's a chance they might just chump block with the Ornithopter. Okay, they decide not to. So do I want to deal my opponent 8 damage here, putting them down to 6? I think so. Makes K-Command lethal. Although maybe K-Command would have already been pretty lethal. Portable Holo Blade. Seems like they're not making a construct. Maybe they don't have another land. They do have another land. They shock down to 4. Still have Metalcraft for the Opal. 5/5 Kappa Cannoneer. So they're going to chump block with the Ornithopter this turn, I guess. All Mox Opals all the way down. So many good top decks. None to be found. They get Lava Spur Boots instead of Shadowspear. Might just be dead to Cranial Plating, plus like another Kappa Cannoneer. Should be, yeah. A little late, Mycospawn. Okay, so we're going to bring in the Haywire Mites. I think I also want Thieves of Existence. They're not amazing, but I think they're pretty solid 2-for-1s. Vexing Bauble could be pretty good on the play. There's not like a lot of downside to including it. I'm not sure if it's going to stay in. Needle's pretty good against Cranial Plating, Tomio Imri, so like that's a pretty nice matchup spread. Now, as far as like what we want to move away from, the Emrakuls, I do think we want to move away from. I think they're a little slow in this matchup. And it's possible we also just want to get rid of the Mycospawns for a similar reason, although their ability to answer Urza Saga is kind of nice. We can go down to Blade also since we'd have the tutors for them, but this just might be the plan. Seems like a plan. Let's lock it in. Also, they use the Broodscale combo. It's pretty good against them, but again, I don't think we need the third Blade very badly. Definitely keeping. Puts it a Mulda 6. It's important to play a Shifting Woodland so you can get it with the Mycospawn, I think. It's not going to enter untapped that often in this deck. Opponent's on at least a Mulda 6. Maybe Mox Opal Band wasn't so good for Modern. Maybe. I think it's a bit early to say. I'll say this. I played a lot of Affinity variants, and I know from experience that, one, they're pretty beatable, and I'm also a believer that these versions are not like the best builds. Like one thing that shocks me is like every time there's a shakeup, people like really gravitate towards these like more aggressive builds of Affinity that have kind of like I don't know if they've ever like been doing well. I'm gonna need the Lava Spur Boots here. Like they always seem like outside the realm of like a competitive tournament Modern deck. They're not super far away, but they're also not. They have just not done much since their entire time being legal. So I'm not. If we're talking about Affinity, I'm not too worried about it. Okay, they took Damping Sphere here. I don't know if I care about this. So like, if we're talking about Mox Opal being a dangerous card for Modern, right? If we're talking about it being bad right now. Is Affinity, I'm sincerely asking, is Affinity the deck you're worried about? What deck are you worried about? Because I don't know that I don't particularly feel like Affinity is a problematic deck. In fact, I actually think if Affinity ends up being the Mox Opal deck, that's perfect. Because that deck is very beatable and very fun, I think. Not gonna lie, these Opal decks are starting to feel like the Ring ones. Could you elaborate? Which Opal decks are you talking about, and how are they similar to the Ring? Sincerely, those who are afraid of Mox Opal, is it Affinity? What decks are you afraid of it in right now? I'm trying to understand as well. Why do we select the spawn? Just focusing on chat? No, there's a Damping Sphere in play, which turns off Eldrazi Temple from tapping for 2. Just guys, it's yeah. When I notice the Affinities, unless they get an explosive start with Kappa Candy, they kind of don't do anything. I agree. I think these Affinity decks are straight up not good. I think that they are like not like it's almost impossible for this build to break into tier 1. You know what I mean? I think it is almost impossible. That's kind of why I prefer like the bigger builds with like a bunch of counter magic, because like that lets you fight through the hate and you get to play like different game plans that are not just the explosive fast aggro ones. Yeah. I think Kethis is potentially the deck. I agree. Playtesting it on Wednesday, it didn't exactly feel too scary. Obviously, it's an early draft. I agree that Kethis could potentially be a scary deck. I've never played the Witness. I've been interested in Evolution Witness and Tarion, Soulcarver over Blade. Blade just equips for 1. It's so much better than Cleaver, in my opinion. We have played Evolution Witness variants. I think that they are okay. I just don't like that it increased the speed of the format. Well, I'll say this as far as Mox Opal at the moment. There's not a Mox Opal deck that's killing you turn 2 compared to Hollow One, Hollow One, Storm, and Amulet. So all of these are decks that can kill you turn 2 and are not, and none of them are playing Mox Opal. So it's like, in some ways, like, I like that Mox Opal lets you play a little bit more interactive against these strategies. As funny as it is to kind of call those strategies interactive. Okay, so let's get the Springleaf Drum, and then I think we just go main phase K command and then K command on their turn. That should kill them. Well, maybe this, I guess this one just kills them actually. Right? Maybe it's hard to count sometimes. Yeah, it looks like I have to cast one more spell. Not the toughest thing to do. I've already built a Corey Stoke color list. No, I spent like 14-ish hours between Tuesday and Wednesday making that YouTube video. I haven't also been building decks yet. I'll do that Sunday, Monday. You tap the Temple for just 1 mana. Yes, there's a Damping Sphere in play. If I tap it for 2 mana, it still just makes 1 mana. Okay, I'm going to go to game 3 here. I think the Imri Tamiya Mox package might be a bit cracked, but as long as there's no clear one deck, I don't think it's a problem. I agree that it's powerful. We've played it in a lot of shells. I think it's going to be like it's something you could play, but I'm not very worried about it. I genuinely appreciate feedback on this because I just don't think that the Mox Opal decks are very scary. I think increasing speed of the format, it's like, this format is fast without Mox Opal, and like Mox Opal not being legal, I think it makes things worse because like Storm kills you turn 2. Hollow One can kill you turn 2. Amulet Titan can kill you turn 2. You need to be able to catch up, and like it feels like the Mox Opal decks, especially the ones that play counter magic, allow you to have, games that interact with these decks for whatever that's worth. All right, a nice combo hand here. Let's keep. Yeah, Boros is also pretty fast. How do you feel about Belcher in the post-ban meta? Pre-ban, it felt to me like it was the second best combo deck after Breach. I think there's a good chance that's the case. I haven't tested it post-ban, but I think I should try it out. Maybe these turn 2 decks shouldn't exist. Maybe. I agree, maybe, but like there are 3 of them right now. There are 3 of them right now, and like what are we doing? We have to have a more cohesive philosophy. This could be your philosophy. I think it's a fine stance. Decks that can win on turn 2 shouldn't exist. I'm kind of okay with it. But at the very least, like, there are 3 decks that are like kind of more towards the top, and that can kill on turn 2, and none of them include Mox Opal. So I go Saga next turn, Broodscale, and then I can get Shadowspear off of it if I need something to win with. Hollow One killing turn 2 is a bit of stretch. We were killed by Hollow One on stream today. Sorry, it wasn't turn 2. It was turn 3, but they had 16 power in play on turn 2. I think Hollow One's turn 2 kills are about as common as Titans. No, probably less than Titans because they just have to draw 2 amulets. You could take Hollow One off the list if you want. You're right. They just had 16 power turn 2. I wouldn't call it constantly. Of course it's not constantly for any of these decks. Of course not. Yeah, there's like Neoform and Infect that can kill turn 2 and are not too scary. Okay, so the opponent seems to have kept a pretty reasonable one-lander, it seems. We're a little dubious for a second. Gotta take the Broodscale, I guess. See if they have another consign. No, I'm misremembering. So they did nothing turn 1, but then turn 2 they put 16 power into play. So if they had done that turn 1, it would have been a turn 2 kill. But that isn't what happened today, for full transparency. All right, they're 2 mana online now. Could maybe have Dispatch. Well, how could I not take this K command? Seems like I just want to main phase adapt also. Get extra damage, make sure I get my spawn to K command for more next turn. No, I don't want to look at any builds with new cards. It's kind of like getting spoiled. I like to, obviously I'm a big deck builder and I like to deck build on my own time. So I lost my blade, so we no longer have Metalcraft with just one artifact, but we can just go ahead and main phase this. If they have a Force of Negation, they have a Force of Negation. Seems unlikely they would board that in, but it's possible. So I could use this. I've already played my land, right? Oh no, I have not played my land. But the woodland is effectively a blade of the Bloodchief, which is cool. So I think I mean I don't really hate any of these cards. I think I'm gonna bottom this, and then let's go. Probably Stirring's Fleshraker, and then let's draw the Haywire Mite right now. Cast the Haywire Mite, and then we can get Metalcraft online to kill the Mox Opal. Although it's possible they have another Mox Opal in their hand, which is maybe I should have bobbled them first. Yeah, maybe I should have bobbled them first. I've ever used the Dunes ability. I mean, not in this deck, but in like other Eldrazi decks I have. Yeah, it was probably better to go after the bridge. Bridge over Opal. Yeah. Alright, I turned my land into a Blade of the Bloodchief. What am I trying to brew at the moment? Well, you could look at my new YouTube video. I talk about like almost around 50 cards. Not all of them were like good reviews. Some of them were like, I don't like this card that much. Okay, so we're on the draw. Population size is 53. Sample size is 2. Successes is 29. They're going to be about 70%. 80%. Let's keep. Yeah, I think this is why I like the calculator so much, because it's like, I think my instincts tell me to mulligan this, but like the math just does say keep. Although, bricked on the first draw, so you have the second draw is kinder to us. Honestly, even if we brick on the second draw, then we do just have Mox Opal online, but like on turn 3. It's not like the game ends. I'm intrigued by the new Voice of Victory. The card seems... Was that one in the video? 1/3, mobilize 2. Your opponents can't spells during your turn. Could you elaborate why you like this card? Okay, so we drew a Saga, which of the hits was like kind of the worst one, but I think it's okay. Can we Broodscale next turn? We get to go. Get a Blade. Mox Opal is online. We have 1, 2, 3 mana. So we would need to like rumble. I think if we rumble into a land, we have enough. People hate counterspells. Yeah, like being good. People seem to think being good against counterspells is either hard to do in Modern or it is important to do. But counterspells aren't that popular right now, and it's very easy to be good against counterspells. Like this card is as like a slightly better Grand Abolisher, but Grand Abolisher is like almost never been a card I want to play. I don't know like what deck I would possibly want to play this card in. Voice of Victory. Okay, choose a World Breaker off this Rumble. Do not cast a card, please. Although a K command or a K return would also be pretty bad. Okay, we drew a Blade of the Bloodchief, which means I guess I could choose to get a Springleaf Drum here. Seems like something I want to do. Okay, gotta grab this Temple. Oh, I guess we are one short, huh? I think I just equipped to play around K. Oh, wait. Not real mana. Working on a humans deck with replacement to help removal not be annoying with tax collector to trigger Delny. I mean, I did the tax collector thing. I didn't like it that much, but I really wanted it to be good, you know? This is 6 mana. So they have a Mycospawn to kill my Saga. So I think if I draw a green source, we go Broodscale for 2, floating an Eldrazi mana, equip for 1, and then Eldrazi mana plus the green source lets me win. So untap green source. That is not. So I think I'm just going to go Broodscale, or sorry, Fleshraker into Stirrings. I think I'm going to go for the green source over the Bauble, since my opponent has the K return in the yard. That's why I think Voice of Victory helps. I don't know. It's like, this is the thing about Voice of Victory. It's like, what you're describing to me is a deck full of like low quality cards, with respect. An archetype that is underpowered and like has a clearly better version. This is the problem with like the Delny human stuff, is your human synergies are weaker than Guide, Pride, Goblin Bombardment, Flage. You know, like if you want to play this kind of like cheap creature aggro mid-range disruptive deck, Boros Synergy just does this in a much better way. You could draw your cards in any order. Your card quality is way higher. Your deck is faster. Like there just aren't really weaknesses. So they sack 2 spawns to play a Talisman, and then they have 6 mana after this. But then they K return in response. And then I win. Didn't second Opal win? What am I missing? I don't think second Opal won, but... So if I go second Opal, I have 2 mana. I play Fleshraker, I get 1 more mana, and then I can equip, but I don't start the loop. So it is close to winning, but I'm a mana short because I can't sack a spawn afterwards. Okay, so Broodscale for 2. Equip using the Oasis, then activate with the drum and the floating Eldrazi mana. Tough game to win. Alright, so got our Thief of Existences for the Karns, and they've got some other targets. I want to leave in my Emrakuls. I want to leave in my Mycospawns. I think I'm going to leave in the first Haywire Mite. So the Shadowspear is like largely in the deck so that you can have an Urza Saga target as a way to get through blockers, which I do think is important in this matchup. I don't know if I think it's mandatory, though. I think I'm going to cut a Bauble. And let's try cutting Bauble Drum. This might be a bit... Maybe let's cut Bauble Opal. Opal, I think if I'm going to be cutting other artifacts, I'd rather just cut an Opal. Yeah, I'm going to keep this. I might lead on the Saga turn 1. Let's see what we draw. They have a Devourer of Destiny and on a 6-card hand. Sometimes what they exile with Devour gives you insight into like what their hand is. Like if they exile all spells, you think they need lands and vice versa. But sometimes you get false info. No Sanctum of Ugin, that could be something. They have the turn 1 Talisman, which of course is always the scary draw. I think I will lead on the Blade. Just need to be a little, or the Saga need to be a bit faster. Have I played against the new Just Gaia deck this way? No, I tried working on it some. I didn't like my builds so much. Seems like the list that's popping up was a bit different. Like I kept trying to play Looting plus Fate Stitcher in the deck, but maybe just playing Tamio Emery is the way to go. Thanks, Spandex. Thanks to the Twitch Prime. Flamehold Grappler into Knight Errant. That sounds pretty sweet. I don't know. Yeah, this card is confusing, Flamehold Grappler, but it is very cool. Alright, the turn 2 K command for 3 is pretty tough to beat in general, especially on the draw, but we do have game 3 maybe. Next turn is kill unless they have interaction. Yeah. I'm expecting my Saga to get Stone Rain, though. I'm expecting them to have some interaction. One on top, 2 on the bottom. I was thinking about playing the Eldrazi Turns list. RCQ season, did any work on it since last video? I think the list is a little different, but I think I'm gonna be putting it down for a little bit too. We played, I think it's just so much of it. I do like the deck. I can recommend it to you. It should definitely be Saga that they go after here. Because Saga is basically a blade plus 1 mana. This should still be a win. It's not a win. We're a mana short. Since we can't go Broodscale equip and then sack the spawn to do the loop. So I'm just going to play out a Fleshraker here. Which does set me up for a win next turn, but also doesn't expose my Broodscale. Hi, I almost didn't recognize you. Did you put on some weight? In the last 18 months, I've exercised nearly every day. I lost 40 pounds from 250 to 210. I bulked lifting weights for 9 months, going up to 238, and I've lost... I weighed in at 226 this morning with a target weight of 220. So I do have about 6 pounds to lose. Thank you for your comment. I'll try to become beautiful enough for you. Okay, we're probably getting K commanded again, but let's go for it. Pretty good. I'm just going to go to game 3 here. I'm 6'3". How much did I bench? When I was bulking... Hold on. Let me think about this hand. This is a really weird one. This is a really weird hand. What a mulligan. Can keep on the draw. I don't know about the play. I think I just have to go to 5. Okay, this hand's a nice 5. The 5 is... this? Yeah, when I was bulking, the most I did was one set of 5 of 185. I didn't max out because I didn't have a spotter. I don't think I could have got 225 though. You definitely looked thinner when I first watched the channel. Yeah, I lost a lot of weight and then put on a lot of muscle. We're running the desert. I need more colorless sources. This is both a untapped green and colorless source, which is in a monocolor deck. Basically, has like not a lot of downside. Dang it! You have at least 205 as max. I feel like probably, but I didn't actually do it, so I'm not gonna try to claim it. You know. Kind of tough if I want to hit the sprawl or not. Obviously on a mold of 5, it's gonna be a tough game. I think turning off my opal is pretty bad. I'm just gonna main phase this. A little short of kicking this Mycospawn, but we may not be so far away from casting the Emrakul, especially because if my spawn token dies or I sacrifice it, it makes the Emrakul cost 9 out of 4, 5, 6. I guess we're still pretty far away. I need a Rumble. Would have been awesome if I could have kicked this. Maybe I get a Saga here. Yeah, let's get a Saga. Saga also puts enchantment and land in addition to artifact and creature, so it's both more mana and more utility. When I saw Corey Steel Cutter, I thought of playing blue and prowess because cantrips guarantee second spell. Do you think it's a good direction? Well, there's plenty of good red cantrips too, like Manamorphose. Lava Dart like triggers it, although it's not exactly a cantrip. You can play cards like Light Up the Stage. So I like blue isn't a necessary requirement to like reliably get 2 spells, but you could play blue. Like Sideboard Consigns can be good too. Oh, sorry, I should have equipped the blade onto the Mycospawn. Yeah. Although just beating another K command, like obviously this card is so like. It's just what were they thinking with this card? Doesn't make any sense. I could not gain in the last 3 years, so maybe I did something wrong. You got to eat a lot and sleep a lot and drink a lot of water. You know, if you're doing all those things. How many did they put on top with the K command? 2. I didn't do any of those things. Yeah. The verdict on the different Kethis deck I was playing. I like the Basim build the most, and I want to play a little bit more of it. And I don't know. I think that the deck is weaker than Breach for sure. This mana is more disruptible. You don't have the Saga backup plan and the versions I had. It still seems like a powerful combo deck though. Did you ever do Go Mad Bulk? I don't know what that is. What is a cut and how do you do it? I guess I'm now a fitness influencer. You're eating so much that you're putting on weight, but putting on weight helps you build muscle faster. And so you're eating above your target calorie goal. You're trying to gain weight every week and gain muscle in the process. And then once you hit a target goal, mine was 240 pounds, then you start to diet and you're still exercising. It's important to still lift weights so your body knows you're using those muscles, so it doesn't eat too much of those as you lose fat instead. And I'm getting pretty close to my goal weight of 220. And then I think I'm going to be doing one more like long bulking season after this is my current plan, into another cut, and then I'm probably just going to try to maintain. I'm not really trying to go forever. You know, I'm going to be 31 in 5 days, and just trying to get to like a healthy, manageable place that I like and coast that for my 30s, I guess. Gallon of milk a day. I am lactose intolerant, but I'll think about it. What's gonna be my second bulk goal? I'm not sure if I want it to be 250 or 255. Probably not 260. Maybe 260 if I'm like really like. Also, I think you can kind of like get a vibe check once you're deep into it, but at least 250. So if you're just starting, should you bulk or cut first? It kind of depends on if you're fat. For me, I was pretty fat, and or I wasn't. I don't know. I was kind of fat, and what I did was I lost like 40 pounds, and then so it was kind of like cut bulk, and I'm on my second cut. If you're over 15% body fat, you don't need to bulk. Your body has enough excess energy to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Yeah, I guess maybe I messed up. No Obosh. Interesting that they're soul spiking me when I have this Saga in play. I think with this, with what's happening in this game, what I want to do is try to cast an Emrakul next turn. I've never done the body fat percentage calculator. Of course, the main goal with my fitness is to one day be a healthy father and to be able to have the energy to accomplish all of my goals. It's not really about anything else for me. Yeah, so my Emrakul is only going to cost 5 mana because I've got 7 types in the yard. Oh, sorry, 6 mana. And I get 9 more looks at it here. I'm going to grab the Well, I guess I can grab... Well, if I grab Haywire Mite, I'm not going to necessarily be able to kill this. We'll just grab the drum. There we go. Alright, this should be GG. Since they have a Necro in play, and I'm about to control that turn. Can I dunk? I've never dunked. I used to play a lot of basketball when I was like 18. I've never dunked. I've touched the rim. Okay, Dismember in there, catch your most deck. Let me cut the Shadowspear. I think we're gonna go down a Blade and an Opal. Sorry, Blade and a Bauble. 240 at 6'3" is about 13.5 body fat. I'm currently 226. I waited at 226 today. But I don't know. Thief is good here. I think Haywire Mite's a lot better because you can stop them from drawing cards, and I don't want too many of this effect. Let's keep this one. Could be fine to leave it in. He plans to play Third Path Iconoclast with Opal and Chorus Steel. I did used to like that card, huh? We could try it out. There's a lot to be done with Tarkir. Take my Opal? Maybe take the Emrakul. I did take the Opal. I think that makes more sense. I think I'm taking the Mite. It's kind of close. Would have been better to play the Opal. Well, I have Glaring Fleshraker in my deck, so typically I like to save Opals to get those triggers. Dothy. Oh, baby. My one of Dismember. Come on. Had a catcher dominance go. It didn't go that well. We lost to Affinity a couple times. That matchup seemed kind of bad. We lost to Control also. So I wanted to get to this today. So they're casting an Emrakul. And that's bad for me. Especially because I chose to get Mite. If I chose to get Opal here, I don't think it would have been as bad. Although they could have gotten a Saga or a Haywire Mite off the Saga. I like Jace don't have any copies. Jace is really important. Otherwise, your Temporal Mastery suck. And like I think a big selling point to the Eldrazi Turns deck is you can cast Jace on turn 2. Okay, so because I didn't draw a green source, they can't double Haywire Mite me. Yeah, we can still win this game. Coverly with Twitch Prime. Thank you, thank you. Was there an upside to Haywire Miting my own Saga? Yeah, maybe that was the line. It's really good for me that it didn't exile the Blade, because as it stands, if they just don't have any removal, I'm just kind of well set up to combo off and turn after this extra turn. Although I guess sorry, we'll need a little bit of help actually. We can draw, so play equip. I guess it has to be Mox Opal, exactly. I guess Rumble could maybe do it. Go Rumble, yeah, it's still short. Rumble into Opal, I guess. They also have Sickening Shoal, which actually can't beat Sickening Shoal, so let's go to... Okay, can't beat that either. Go to game 3. I think I'm running it back. Oh, sorry, I should be playing these Veil of Summers. Oh. Sorry about that. Haven't played a lot of this matchup. Let's look at this. Don't like Torpor Orb versus Black-White. They're Black-White Necro. So no, I don't like it. It's a good hand. There's like a solid chance they have like no cards that Torpor Orb does anything against. They might have some Solitudes. As a 60 person who's a beast for decades, you can cut down to 180s without dropping below 25% body fat. Comes down to training. I think I've got too much muscle to do that. I don't have very much fat on me at the moment. I don't know what the calculator is. I know I was like that's how much I was in high school before I ever like lifted a weight. I'm gonna bottom the blade, keep the stirrings. And I'm pretty sure we're gonna kick Mycospawn, get Urza Saga here. Oh, sorry, we are one short, aren't we? So let me see if I like my top card. Not particularly. Not a bad mold of 5 we've got here. The Saga is basically an Eldrazi Temple because it's gonna put an enchantment in the yard. Yeah, I know Just Colony. Not the best draw. It makes me kind of thought he's resilient at least. See if they have a Necro. So I have 3, 4, 5. This costs 9. No Soul Spike is good. If they had Sickening Shoal, they would have cast it already, I think. Maybe not. Don't know why not. They discard a Ketchabos, a Fatal Push, and a Fel the Profane. And I draw a Glaring Fleshraker. Yeah, we Emrakul them game 1 when they had Necro in play. It was pretty funny. I think I take the Bauble for the Fleshraker. So Emrakul is going to cost 7 next turn. Because the Saga is going to go to the yard. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if I get a Springleaf Drum, which let me double check I didn't cite it out. Yeah, if I get a Springleaf Drum, that's 7. If we assume we don't draw anything else. Obviously they could sweep the board, they could do a lot of stuff. If they have a Shieldred here, they only get to draw 2 cards, which is nice. Let's get to our main phase. Alright, we drew the land, which means if they have a single removal spell, we still can cast Emrakul. We're on our draw steps. We still have to get to that main phase. Free to cast. We will not be destroying Necro Dominance, though. Emrakul is good against Necro Dominance. Well, let's keep this. You're gonna go turn 1 Drum into turn 2 Fleshraker Stirrings. So against combo decks, I would want to lead on Saga, and against mid-range decks, which I think Meyer is most likely to be, like Orzhov or Dimir, you'll do this. Boros with Bloodstained Mire, maybe Mardu. How many days has it been since I faced a medium fan? We faced a medium fan today. Although I know all the medium fans are actually the biggest fans. I think we're still playing the Fleshraker. I'd love to find a 0 here so we can try to go K command into Emrakul, which I think would be enough. No 0. I guess we'll take the Temple. Might kick Mycospawn next turn. Sorry, Mycospawn. I've never encouraged the medium fan meme. I don't think it's very funny. I think it's fine. But somehow it's just... all the biggest fans say medium fan. What if we get Blood Moon here? If they're playing Mire, they're not very likely to have Blood Moon. Looks like they are Mardu. Discard Bloodghast! Let's go, dude. Got some juice over there. So I'm probably going to go Exile, Bloodghast, Exile Flage, and just make spawns main phase. Holy guacamole. And so the next turn I'm going to have 6 types in my yard. It's a lot of types. So I'm going to make spawns. Exile 1, 2, 3. And I could cast a Mycospawn here instead of keeping these spawns up. I'll have 6. So yeah, that's just enough to cast Emrakul pretty easy. So it's kind of nice to make sure that I don't need to rely on these spawns living to cast Emmy. Very fun that you have like this like creature-based 1/2 card combo, and you also can just cast Emrakul the Promised It on turn 4. Well, Emrakul is pretty good against Goblin Bombardment. There's a pretty high chance we can kill them. Although I guess they'll sack their entire board after I Emrakul them. Is Blood Moon seeing any resurgence? Are we expecting it to come back with New Ugin? So the weird thing is Blood Moon is not that good against most of the Eldrazi decks. Like against Utopia Sprawls and Talismans, and they curve out, and like, you know, Mycospawn just still like is ramping them. Like you have to remember, Blood Moon is a 3 mana enchantment. It's like it's not bad in the matchup, but it is far from like 3 mana win the game. Far from 3 mana win the game. Was it explained why Citadel over Treasure Vault? Yes, the indestructible is very important. You don't want your lands to get Wrath Disguised, Wear Teared, etc., etc. Alright, their deck seems to be pretty built around bombardment, so we'll definitely bring in the Needle. I guess we would bring it in against most energy variants. I think just one Haywire Mite. I don't think I'll bring in the Dismember. I don't usually like it that much against them. I do think I want a Lantern. So let me cut a Bauble. Maybe just 2 Baubles. As a professional Titan hater, you should support Blood Moon Peace. Well, Blood Moon sure is also not that good against Titan. it's good. It's good game 1, but they've got all these Boseijus. If you're on the draw, you lose. But also, this is the problem with Blood Moon, is you can't main deck it to combat like the 4%, whatever, 5% Amulet Titan. Like, it has to be good against a wider range of matchups. This is, of course, the issue with main decking Blood Moon. And the issue with, like, then one of the reasons why main deck Blood Moon seems very unlikely to happen is because it's not very good against the big mana deck, Eldrazi. Yeah, you could maybe play Thief of Existence and Static Prison too, but we don't know what their build is like. They're playing Bloodghast, so I don't want to get too weird with it. Yeah, Abandoned Legacy is Sowing Mycospawn, that's right. Let's keep this. Got to lead on the Saga, so we have green mana on turn 3 after we go turn 2 Fleshraker. Spike is a real that I don't like Canister. I like Canister. I just because I want Amulet of Vigor Band doesn't mean I don't like Canister. You know, I'll say this. I shouldn't have to say this, but I know I get heated up sometimes. It's just when I'm talking about cards, I never feel like cards are personal. You know, it's just cards. It's just a game. I never have any sore feelings if someone disagrees with me on a topic for Magic the Gathering. All right, let's play the Temple now. Could exile the cat, draw a card. I think we don't want to do that. Canister said I should say he likes you back. Okay. I will say this, Canister is a confusing person. I can never tell ever what he's saying. I don't know ever how serious it is, but I don't know. I don't dislike Canister. This has been about every interaction I've ever had with him, though. It's always been a little weird. That's just who he is. A little weird. We're all a little weird as Magic players. Okay, let's see which one they target here. Why do you have Darksteel Citadel Tron? Well, we're not playing Tron. I think I'm gonna exile the cat, actually. It's kind of close. Okay, all there's the Sagas all the way down. All right, game 3 seems likely here. Yes, let's keep the show on the road. Online personality and persona is vastly different. Canister's a good guy. I mean, Canister's never done anything negative. He's just a confusing person. I'm sure he is a great guy. Let's bring in Torpor Orb against the Charmals. Like, I've just never had like a normal conversation with Canister. It's always been so weird. Which is fine. I'm gonna go down to Blade. Let's play 2 actually. Let's try it. There's Spyro 2. A little bit scared of Flage, but we've got the K commands. And we're on the play. Well, no, I can't do a fake beef with Canister for clout, because I'll lose. I just know his trash talk game's got to be unbelievable. Unbelievable. Alright, on the play for game 3. Let's mulligan this one. Okay, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to put back the Opal. I think you can get the Spear of the matchup. Pretty rare you're able to get it going on anything. Really? Against like the energy decks? I feel like I always want the Spear. At the very... Yeah, I disagree. I'm just always keeping in Spear against like Guide, Pride of Johnny decks. Okay, Inquisition not going to do too much here. Let's play that. Canister is that one NPC from software game, or that one NPC in From Software game that says the most esoteric things. I think that's a good way to describe Canny. Been on Writhing Chrysalis in this deck in Broodscale. I don't know. I feel like I'm basically always wanting to play like Mycospawn or Thought-Knot Seer in the 4-drop slot if I want to play a 4-drop. Again, you don't have to play a 4-drop. Let's get another Saga here. Yeah, I saw that they announced a Switch exclusive FromSoft game. Now, I haven't actually played Bloodborne, so if I'm going to play Bloodborne before I play this one, if I play this one. But it's cool that they're doing more games. It kind of seems like that they kind of got a taste for shorter games potentially from the Elden Ring DLC. Because it seems like the new co-op game and the new Switch game are both going to be shorter, I would imagine, than Elden Ring. Which I think I'd be kind of down with, like, one shorter game a year than, like, an Elden Ring every, like, 5 years. This one is multiplayer. Wait, both of them are multiplayer? Didn't know that. Yeah, we've been downstairs for about 4 months, pointy fingers, as we very slowly remodel the upstairs. Okay, this is a good turn for our opponent. It's like the old Sam Black Bloodghast Bombardment deck in Legacy. YouTube description says it's an 8-player PvPvE game. Interesting. So that's a dead Glaring Fleshraker. 2 Sagas tick up. Oh, so maybe I should have Stirrings first, because then if I find K command, I can kill the Ajani. Sorry, I should have done that. Didn't find one. I think I'm going to go Blade here, and just go Blade Torpor Orb this turn. Wait, does Torpor Orb stop the Ajani 0? I don't think it does. How do you feel about pre-modern as a format? Well, I started playing in Return to Ravnica, so I have like basically no nostalgia for the cards that get played in pre-modern, and from what I can tell, nostalgia seems to be like one of the main reasons to be interested in that format, but I'm sure it's fine. I just never tried it. Yeah, I didn't think it worked. It's a good Thoughtseize. Okay, so I can get Pithing Needle and I can get Haywire Mite. Okay, so I think what we do is float a mana so they can't sack stuff here. Get Haywire Mite. Haywire Mite the Bombardment. They should at least sack the Bloodghast and then get it back. I was down with pre-modern, then the guy banned land tax. Wait, it's one guy running pre-modern? It's interesting. But yeah, like to me, it seems like the main reason to play the format is like you played back then, and you're nostalgic for all these old cards and these old play patterns. Seems like a fine reason. But I don't even really know a lot of the cards that exist because I've just been so focused on the modern card pool for so long. Okay, so they got 2 cards in their hand. They have a Looting in the yard. They have a Bloodghast in the yard. They didn't cast anything last turn, so I'm a little bit scared that they've got like a Wear Tear at like best case scenario. Although I guess Wear Tear would have killed the Saga, so maybe Fatal Push. Tarkir's live on Moto on Wednesday, it seems. How do you get 2 Sagas and play on the same turn? I Sowing Mycospawn for the second. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried am I about the new Ugin? Probably like a 6. At the very least, like I said this in the video, like I think Ugin does like really exacerbate like archetypal matchup dynamics where as Boros or Dimir or Orzhov, if your opponent started casting 7 drops, it was really hard to win. And like this dynamic is really exacerbated because you could sometimes beat Devour and Null Drifter and Worldbreaker, these kind of cards. It's going to be harder to beat an Ugin. Although maybe Ugin is a turn slower a lot of the time because of Eldrazi Temple. But I think overall, like fast combo and fast aggro is still going to be pretty good against Eldrazi, and mid-range control and slower aggro is still going to be pretty bad against it. And so I don't really think that dynamic changes, but I mostly think the gameplay gets worse. That's my main concern. Okay, so if they attack with this Bloodghast and they have a Lightning Bolt, they can kill my Construct. We haven't seen them cast the card Lightning Bolt, but I think I'm going to give them some credit, especially because I have enough life to play with here. What gets the extra Ugin in the Eldrazi turns deck? Just Devour of Destiny. Although maybe some other numbers. Yeah, I know there's the early access today. Maybe I'll play early access tomorrow. Let me just see if other people are streaming the early access, because people have not been streaming it or playing in it for like the last several standard sets. So I just kind of thought it was dead. Canister's playing Tylo's Tracker. Early access in today. Okay, I thought it was today and tomorrow. But yeah, it's just I don't know. I just can't get matches usually, and wait, what did they ending the needle so their Johnny could wake up. Okay, it's pretty good. Yeah, honestly, playing High Tide and Pauper could be fun. Are there already High Tide lists? Maybe, dude, what if I did a High Tide league in between rounds of the challenge tomorrow? That could be fun. Shout out to the anti-Shadowspear lobby. It's like the best possible top deck almost. Mingu played one? Okay, I'll have to take a look. Although, also shout out to the you never get to equip it lobby. Gonna be a tough one to win from here. They don't have a red permanent for a Johnny, which is nice. I could just draw... I guess Broodscale is now the best draw. This was in your hand? I should be dead. How is this in your hand? I should just be dead. Alright, my Needle and my Haywire Mite's already gone, so I think we're pretty cooked. Was able to get back on the list for early access, like I mentioned. I mean, I never hit them up about it, but they also, yeah, they didn't add me back on. Okay. 2/2. Yeah, so if you cast 2 High Tides and you have Archaeomancer, you can, that's Infinite Storm. You'd have to cast 4 High Tides for infinite mana. Is that realistic? There are too many counter spells? You can play your own counter spells. Oh yeah, you also have Mnemonic Wall. The best loop I found is 3 High Tide, 3 land, Mnemonic Wall, Snap. Well, at least 3 High Tide. I think Ghostly Flicker is going to be better because it lets you get back like a winning condition after than just Snap. Okay, if you go Snap, Archaeomancer. I'm gonna bubble myself to see if I don't like my top card. I was Stirrings over it. There's the Vizier cycle to untap. Wait, like Vizier of Tumbling Sands? I thought that was an uncommon. Yeah, I agree that Terra 5-0 that deck didn't look that exciting. I might mess with it though. I will say this: the High Tide on bands got me kind of curious. I do really like that card. Oh, it got printed a common and commander. I'll take a look. I really like the card High Tide a lot. I remember one time I played a Legacy event and I was playing Ant because, as some of y'all might know, I just am a big lover of that deck. And there was I had an opponent who I was playing. I was borrowing the deck and it was all foiled out. It was really fancy. And and I had an opponent comment on the fact that because my deck was foiled out, I must be playing High Tide. They were so confident I was just playing High Tide. And I think I like mulliganed to 4 or something. And I just went like Fancy Fetch, Ponder, Brainstorm. And then my opponent was, I think, playing Shardless Bug. And they like Shardless Agent into Hymn to Turok. And I just conceded. And then I won game 2 because my opponent boarded in. I can't remember what the card was, but it was a card that it was bad against Ant and was good against High Tide. I felt pretty. That was I don't know how we got here from there. I don't know how we got here actually, but a good memory. Gab, thanks for the raid. Hope y'all are doing well. We're playing Mill against Broodscale, and we're daydreaming about playing Pauper High Tide. Getting Archive Trapped once. And then they maybe have a Surgical they're thinking about casting. What? Oh, they decide to cast the second Archive Trap. A good choice, I think. Will this be a Hashep Oasis lethal? Who won the match? I won the match. I won the match, I think, because I scooped game 1, and my opponent did. There's some words said by them, if I'm gonna be honest. That me and my friends joke about. Okay, they Surgical the Emrakul. So them Surgicaling Emrakul makes me think that they're about to cast a Tasha's. Now, my only 2 Emrakuls are in the graveyard at the moment. But my mana value for the rest of the deck is pretty low. I think there's a good chance Tasha's kills me. What was Gab playing today? Field of Ruin. So they do Tasha's me, and I have 1 card in my deck. This is fun. We'll just see what the card is, but maybe I could figure out lethal somehow. Okay, it's Ancient Stirrings. That was not very helpful. So we'll let these Sagas tick up. Okay, so right now I'm attacking my opponent down to 8 life. Also, I can deal damage on my upkeep next turn by making Saga tokens and triggering Glaring Fleshraker. But what's the most amount of damage I can do this turn? I imagine I'm always going to make a Saga token. I think I could just go ahead and kind of comfortably do this. Because this is going to turn on my Mox Opal. Now, it doesn't... So casting Sowing Mycospawn deals 2 damage versus the 1 damage that activating this construct does. Although, seems like I can do both. Although I could also equip the Shadowspear for an extra damage, but it should be like... I guess it's just one more thing. Okay, so although they can field one of my Sagas, which stinks, but this seems to be the most damage I can do. So they go down to 9, and then... I attack them down for 6 down to 4. So yeah, it looks like even if I could do double activation, I'm dead. Maybe there's a way to Hashep Oasis and get more damage, and I don't think it would have been enough. Would have been cool. So down a game against Mill. I guess I'm bringing in the Veils, even though they aren't super good. I think they're good enough. It's got the Shadowspear. It's got the Haywire Mite and B62 post board. Yeah, maybe Saga Token Oasis. Like, Mycospawn was 2 damage. Oasis would have been 1 more, so it still wasn't enough. Surprised no Brainstorm when you have Lauren revealed. Maybe it's just not enough shuffles. Okay, so we're splicing. Are we twiddling? Okay, Psychic Puppetry for the twiddle. Interesting. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may put those cards in the bottom of your library in any order. If you do, return it to your owner's hand. Otherwise, draw 3 cards. Interesting. That's weird text. Is Bauble worth playing just for the traps? Is Bauble worth it just for the traps? Well, Bauble doesn't trigger Archive Trap if that's what you're talking about. I'm a little confused what you're talking about overall. I mean, in this deck, are there Baubles for Whiplash Trap? No. Is Keen Sense a consideration? You can play Keen Sense. Obviously, we played a lot of like the Keen Sense Fleshraker combo when it came out. Vexing Bauble. Maybe it's kind of cool because if they're like waiting on it, then you do get them. So yeah, maybe it would be worth. Okay, we can go Fleshraker with Veil up next turn. That looks kind of fun. A Scry draw. Okay, don't want a second one. I'll warn you that pedal loops are horrific to do on Moto. Okay. Yeah, I don't exactly know what I'm getting myself into with this Pauper Curiosity. Okay, unfortunately no Fatal Push, I guess. This Emrakul's looking like it'll be castable with them doing this much milling and me having Fleshraker and Rumbles. Notably, you can't Veil Atasha's. I don't think you can Veil the other 3 mana one. It's mostly for their removal. Also does stop Trap, though. Excited to see you play Pauper. I always had One True Love, the Acid Trip deck, Flickering Reality Acid Removal. Oh yeah, that deck is pretty cool. I used to play a lot of Pauper when Treasure Cruise was legal because I was playing a lot of Treasure Cruise in Legacy, and then it got banned. And so I'm like, well, this is a format where you're still allowed to play this card. So I played it for like the entirety of the time it was legal there. Oh, no Trap? Okay. Yeah, I mean, let's ramp. Just let them mill me and hopefully cast the Emrakul. So yeah, I played a lot of Treasure Cruise. Then when Cruise got banned, I still liked Pauper, and so I decided to build the Affinity deck, and I thought the Affinity deck was really fun. Yeah, so far it seems like all the High Tides, you need like 3 High Tides to go off. So I don't know. I'll spend a little bit of time this evening trying to build it, and I think it'll be a fun in between rounds of tomorrow's challenge thing to do. Not sure what we're playing in tomorrow's challenge. We'll figure something out. Might just do Kethis. Since like Kethis is like pretty interesting still, but I'm not streaming Monday. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can prep for Tarkir. So maybe challenge tomorrow with Kethis is good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vintage Cube is over. I don't think there's a stock version of Kethis. I haven't been looking super closely because I've been working on the Tarkir stuff, but as far as I know, there isn't like a stock build. Okay, so Veil's online, which is nice. So right now, there's going to be 4 types in the yard after the Rumble goes to the yard. And then if I let the creature, that's another one. If I take Bauble, that's another one. So it looks like Emrakul's castable, I'm pretty sure. Close enough. 6, 7, 8. I have 8 mana, and it costs 6 less after I crack the Bauble. So probably going to game 3. I guess they could surge. If they can't surgical me off 2 types because I have Veil. Delph for the 12 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Yeah, Tarkir is a super exciting set. I have my video talking about it's like an hour 10 minutes, and this is with like a lot of stuff cut out. A lot of stuff. I ended up cutting like 5 cards because they weren't super interesting, but like if it was a less exciting set, I would have talked about them. All right, let's do 63 and play the Bauble. Watch it 1.5 speed. That's probably a good way to watch it. There's a lot of stuff that could do something, and there's a lot of stuff that's hard to evaluate, and that's like pretty fresh and exciting. And then there's like the wet blanket of Ugin, which I don't know. We'll try to have our fun with Ugin while we can, but try not to rain on our parade too much. Could we justify 64 Dismember for their cards? I don't usually love to go up 4 extra cards because like you start to have an awkward land to spell ratio, but you could, yeah. You could play a Dismember over something else. Are the Tarkir dragons going to be a little slow and clunky for constructed? There's a few dragons that are playable, so you can watch the video and you can see which ones I like. You could smash that bell button. Kind of weird because it would be really nice if I could just like rumble this turn and then play this untapped, and have Veil up when I play the Broodscale, but I can't do that. So I think I'm just going to rumble, and then if I see an untapped green source, kind of, play for that. I see a Fleshraker. The Opal's not untapped green unless I draw another artifact, so I think I'll just take the Fleshraker and plan to play that with Veil up next turn, and then combo off in 2 turns. I could also, of course, if my opponent taps out for like a Tasha's, just go for the combo next turn. Thanks, Aquadog. I definitely have a lot more fun streaming, but it's these YouTube videos are good, honest work. I'm glad I pushed myself because I had to work Tuesday night and all yesterday to get it done. I was worried it wouldn't be done till this weekend, but I'm glad it's out before pre-release. I was almost asleep watching your video, and the Dragon Storm at the end started jolting me awake. Yeah, I've started to add little bloopers at the end of these. Okay, they milled me for 14. Do they have a Surgical Extraction? I do have a Mycospawn in the yard. It's my main phase, but there's a trigger on the stack. All right, my Broodscale is on the stack. They seem to be F6'd. GG. All right. So 3-2. I think this is I like this direction for Broodscale overall. The Emrakuls are really good this league. I think I like to play 2 in the main right now, but obviously the metagame is still kind of shaping out. I think we could maybe play less Oasises. I'm just worried about colorless sources. overall pretty solid list. So I think I'm pretty likely to play Kethis tomorrow in the challenge, and I think I'm pretty likely to build some high type popper between rounds. I'm also just gonna